Hi folks, good afternoon and welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. This beautiful weather and happy springtime. Spring just happened a couple days ago. We're into spring. I had an argument with a friend of mine on Monday. He claimed that it wasn't spring Monday, but I heard from Mark. Mark told me, Mark Searles told me on the weather, not me directly, but he told everybody that spring fell on 5/26 or something on Monday. So that's what I went by. All right, well, here we are. And speaking of NBC 10, well, I didn't say NBC 10, but speaking of NBC 10, I have the lovely reporter / anchor of NBC 10. She started here in September of last year, Leanna Faulk.
Perfect.
How you doing?
How are you? I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Nice to meet you, finally.
Nice to meet you, yeah.
I've never, full disclosure, we've never met before. We're just meeting right now, today, on this show. This is what, the 22nd of March, right? Already. 22nd of March.
Time is going.
Yeah. Now, let's go backtrack.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
So I'm born and raised in Long Island, New York.
Long Island.
Long Island.
And this is one of the reasons why I started my other show, Bob's Big Adventure, because having traveled, and always loved to travel, even before I started the show 31 years ago, it used to drive me crazy when I'd run into somebody while I was traveling. I'd be in California, I'd be in Oregon, I'd be in Florida or New Orleans, and I'd say I'm from Rhode Island, and they go, oh, Long Island.
Yeah.
I get that all the time.
I get that all the time.
Do you?
Yeah, all the time. People think it's the exact same thing. When I told people from home that I was moving to Rhode Island, they were like, oh, you're coming home. And I was like, no, not exactly.
Wow.
Not exactly.
Wow. Where in Long Island?
So I went to Elmont Memorial High School, so Valley Stream, Nassau County. I live on the border of Long Island and Queens. So
close to the city.
Yeah,
Close to the city.
I can walk literally the bridge to get to Queens.
My nephew's daughter is going to Hofstra.
Hofstra? Yeah.
Yeah,
she got 20 minutes from me.
She got a full scholarship for.
Nice.
She pitched.
Congrats.
She's a phenomenal pitcher, baseball pitcher.
Congrats.
In fact, she beat the number 3 team in the country
awesome.
A few days ago. She pitched a 2-hitter.
Wow.
Struck out 10.
Nice.
She's a strikeout pitcher, actually.
Nice.
Pretty phenomenal. Awesome. Pretty phenomenal girl. So you started there. You went to high school in Long Island, on Long Island, and well, I remember part of Long Island that I liked is the fishing over it, way at the other end.
I've actually never gone fishing before.
No?
No, I've never gone fishing before.
Cut it out.
I wasn't too big of a water sports girl.
Right.
Was always worried about the hair, if I'm being honest.
Oh, God.
But I would definitely try it. I would try it, but I don't think I'd be able to touch the bait. I think that would creep
Everybody
me out.
does that, especially every woman that I've ever known in my lifetime, or most of them I should say, especially if you get the clam worms. You know what clam worms look like?
No.
They pinch. It's a regular clam.
Pinch you?
Yes, it's like a clam. Looks like a regular clam. I'm sorry, it looks like a regular clam. Worm. Except it has these pinches on the end. And I can remember when my son was small and he'd go, Dad, look, and there's things hanging from his finger.
Yeah, no, that'd be...
And they don't really hurt. They pinch a little bit, but they don't really hurt. And they're interesting clam worms.
Sounds slimy.
No, they're not really slimy. They come out of, I think they come out of Maine, most of them.
Okay.
They get them up in Maine. They like the cold water.
I would definitely try it, but it's just not my first thing to do with my leisure
I know
time.
Fish like them. I know a lot of fish like the clam worms because they're very hardy. They last a long time in regular. You put a regular worm in salt water, they'll die within minutes. But the clam worms, they're from salt water, so they last a long time.
Interesting.
I did know somebody back in Port Chester. No, wait a minute, no, Port Jefferson.
No, I was about to say Port Jefferson.
Port Jefferson. Port Chester's where I used to park. It's an old secret of mine. If I was going to New York City, I would drive down to Port Chester, leave my car in Port Chester, jump on the train into New York. It was only, I don't know, $13 or something.
I think there's a ferry from out here to Port Jefferson.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't taken the ferry.
From New London, I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah, I've taken it, actually.
It's the port is too far from where I actually live.
Right.
It doesn't make sense for
right.
me to take it. It makes
you're,
sense for me to just drive straight down.
Right. But if you're up in the northern part or like in Montauk.
Yeah.
Or Orient Point.
Yeah, it makes sense.
That's where they go to.
Yeah.
That's where I think it goes to Orient Point.
Yeah.
The ferry. which is way up northeast.
Yeah, that's a bit of ways away from me.
Yeah, but great fishing there, up there.
Okay.
Great fishing. Big fish, too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right, so you graduated from high school,
Yeah.
and then where'd you go? Where'd you go to college?
American University. It's in Washington, D.C.
I know, yeah.
Went there for my undergrad, and then I moved to L.A. to go to USC
Look at you.
for my master's.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was your undergraduate in?
It was in communication studies.
Yep.
Just like a interdisciplinary studies, just like all-encompassing media and communications. Kind
Right,
of like
yeah.
studying like history and
Yep.
that kind of thing.
Political science?
A little bit of that. I didn't like study it specifically, but
No, I know that, but it would be a little bit of something.
Yeah, American is actually voted most politically active campus like 4 years in a row.
That's why I said political
So
science.
yeah, it's pretty. I
'Cause
mean,
my degree's in political science.
yeah, it's DC, so everyone's kind of a political science junkie.
Right.
So I didn't really need to study it to still understand the ins and outs of
Right.
everything. So.
Well, you're surrounded by it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And then masters, what was your master's? Communications?
It was in journalism specifically.
yeah.
So that was a good time living in LA. It was during COVID, but still it was
Oh,
still nice.
that kind of
Yeah,
stunk
so
a little
got
bit.
my whole master's online pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
where did you live when you were in LA?
I lived downtown, like a block away from the Staples Center.
Wow.
Yeah, if I could redo it, I think I would have lived closer to the beach.
Yeah.
Because I didn't realize how big LA was.
Yeah, when you say LA.
Yeah, I just thought like, oh, I'm moving to LA, so I'll just go to the beach.
That's like
every
putting Rhode
weekend.
Island. You could drop Rhode Island into LA.
Exactly. So it was, yeah, I think I would have lived a little bit closer to the beach if I could redo that whole journey
right.
over again. Yeah.
So 2 years out there, right?
Just 1 year for my master's,
Oh, just
actually.
one?
Yeah, it was a 9-month program.
Oh, that's why, because it was
Yeah.
a 9-month program.
A lot
Yeah.
cheaper than 2 years.
Yeah, yeah. Now, what do they get for a tuition out there for non-resident? I know the residents go there for free, or is it semi for free? A little bit of money.
I think USC is a private school, or if it's,
USC, yeah.
I think UCLA is the public school.
Right.
But if I have this right, and I hate if I'm wrong right now, but I believe it's a private school.
Really?
So I think tuition is the same all across the board. I was graced with a scholarship for my master's, so I didn't pay a dime.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's even nicer.
Yeah.
All right, so you graduated from USC, then what'd you do?
Then I moved to Reno, Nevada.
Oh, I've been there.
Yeah, Reno is
Yeah,
the biggest
with the
little
sign
city.
across the street.
Biggest little city.
Yeah, biggest little city. That sign's probably the most photographed thing in the city.
Oh, absolutely. But most people, when they go downtown to see that sign, they take a picture and leave because downtown Reno is not really a place to congregate.
Yeah, that's not like Las Vegas.
No, not at all. It's not like
at
the
all.
Strip at all.
It's a backwards type
yeah.
tourist casino area.
Yeah, but
It's like a
besides-
second-rate casino area.
Yeah.
Or third-rate casino area.
But besides that downtown area, Reno is amazing. I loved living there. And
Yeah?
that's where I had my first job in news.
They get extremes in temperatures out there.
Oh, yeah. It gets so hot.
Highs
that
and lows. My
things just
God.
start going on fire.
Yes, yes.
Summertime is really only about maybe 3 weeks, and then everything
it really
yeah,
that
and then
bad?
everything's on fire.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wildfire season is intense out there, and it lasts all the way up until like the fall. It's bad. Yeah.
Do you watch that show on TV now about the fire country? It's called Fire Country.
I don't think I've heard of this one.
No, it's about the
wildfires.
The wildfire. The people that work there, the Cal Fire, they call them, right?
Cal Fire. Yeah. Oh,
It's about that. The guy that used to be on. Why I started watching it is because the guy that used to be on a TV show I like, the Navy SEALs show, the SEALs show, is on there. The guy that played Clay on the SEAL show is one of the stars of that show.
Got it.
And it's about Cal Fire. It's about how they react and handle the fires, and then they drop the red stuff on them, the fire retardant material on top of them and stuff like that.
Yeah, the fires are intense. So.
Plus, I've been to that area before, like I said.
Yeah.
You ever been to Tahoe?
Yes, many times.
No, I like Tahoe.
Tahoe is nice. Everybody loves Tahoe. Nobody doesn't.
But this winter, they didn't like it, I'll bet.
Oh my gosh.
They got snow.
Did you see some of the pictures? The snow is like, I mean, you called me tall earlier, but that is
Wow.
insane.
First time I went out, I've been there, I don't know, 8 or 10 times. My cousin lived in Antioch, California, which is right over the mountains, and right by Donner's Pass. You know the history
Yeah.
of Donner's Pass, right? I
Yeah.
mentioned it to somebody the other day, they never heard of it. but
Anytime we had snow coverage, they would send us out to Donner, so we would be like on Donner all the time. Anytime there was snow coverage.
Oh, they get serious snow
yeah.
out there. That's what happened with those people trying to come across the United States,
Yeah,
going
and
from
then they
the
have
East Coast
chain
to the West Coast.
controls over there, so you have all the 18-wheelers just lined up putting chains on their
Yeah,
tires.
they stop you at the border.
Yeah, you can't get past. Donner's probably
Right.
the last place you can go before they
They
say
turn
you
you
have
right
to have
around.
chains.
If you don't
Yeah.
have chains on your car,
You have to go right back around.
they turn you right around. They're not
Yeah.
going by. I don't care if you say, oh, I got a four-wheeler. Nope.
Nope.
If you don't have chains available, you're not going anywhere.
Oh God, and people get stuck out there. It's
Well, over the weekend before last, they got in a 36-hour period, they got 15 feet of snow.
wow.
Feet in a day and a half.
I saw the pictures and videos. It looked intense, and I'm happy I made it over here for before I had to, because they would have sent me out there to go be all up in the elements, and I'm happy. So,
Well, I'm into buildings and structures and stuff like that, and doing real estate, and I noticed the houses and the I don't know, the cabins and what, they all have doors on the roofs. Did you notice that?
I don't think I noticed that.
Oh, you probably went looking for it, but I
Yeah.
noticed it right away. All these houses, I said to my cousin, I said, what's that? Why they got doors on the roof? He says, think about it for a minute. They get a lot of snow here. I go, are you kidding me?
Also,
In
to
the
get
winter,
out.
they get in and out of their houses by the roof.
Oh,
They use a snowmobile. They drive up to the cars. Forget it. The car's buried.
yeah.
Because they were showing houses up there. You couldn't see the house at
Yeah.
all, right?
Yeah.
They had to dig off the cement, snow off the roof, just to take the weight off the roof. But to get in the house, the snow was 20 feet high
Yeah.
in front of the house and around the house.
Yeah.
So they all have snowmobiles, and they go to the store in a snowmobile.
Wow. Interesting.
And
I
they-
don't know if I noticed that until you mentioned it.
Yeah, especially now. Now they're talking all the snowfall that they've had. They've been crying for 7 years about the drought out in California and Nevada and all that area.
Yeah.
Now,
You might be the first person I've met out here that pronounced Nevada the right way.
well, how are you supposed to pronounce it?
It's Nevada.
Well, what else?
But everyone else on the East Coast says Nevada.
No, Nevada.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, maybe because they haven't been there. I've been there.
Yeah, but most people on the East Coast say Nevada. But it's, you go out there and they're like, what's Nevada? Like, it's Nevada.
Nevada.
They're very serious about that high A.
Oh, all right. Speaking of, but you're an East Coast person, having
Yeah.
gone out the West Coast. How do you pronounce soda?
Soda?
Soda, drink of soda. What do you? how do you call it?
Soda.
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 You don't call it pop?
No.
That's what they do out there, right?
I don't think I ever heard anybody call it pop. when
Maybe
I
not
was
on the
in-
West Coast. I
That's
think
like
maybe
a,
Michigan.
Yeah,
Maybe-
I was
maybe-
gonna say Michigan,
maybe-
Detroit.
yeah.
I know Detroit. They say pop.
Yeah, they call it pop. Some people call it, if you ask for a Coke, it could be any soda. or
Yeah,
something, right?
I know that. I've heard that before. I've
Right.
heard that before.
You know,
But
that's
I'm
why I
just-
love traveling.
I'll say if I'm asking for a soda, I'm going to say exactly what soda I
Right,
want.
yeah.
I'll
you
say,
want a Sprite?
May I have a
want
Sprite?
a Sprite
May I
or
have
on
a
a
Diet
Coke, a
Coke?
Diet, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Now I'm seeing that first time I saw them was on a Saudi Arabian aircraft going to Morocco, and I saw a Diet Coca-Cola, which I don't drink soda at all anymore, but I was drinking Diet Coke at the time until I found out the aspartame's in it, and I said,
Oh,
that's
don't
the
tell
end.
me that.
Oh, aspartame's not good for you. Aspartame's bad for you.
I know somebody was talking about it in the newsroom
That's in
yesterday.
diet.
I
That's
used
in
to
all
have
the
a,
diet sodas.
I used to have a
aspartame.
really bad Diet Coke addiction.
Oh, I
in
did too.
college. In college, it was really bad. Like,
Yep.
To wake up first thing in the morning, 6 a.m., I need to drink a Diet Coke. It was really bad. And I guess in my mind, I'm like, well, it can't be that bad. It's Diet Coke. It's 0, 0, 0 everything.
Yep.
But there's always hidden something.
0, 0, 0, but it kills rats. It's not good for you.
No.
So I stopped drinking it. But anyway, I'm on the plane, and they come and they passing out. At the time, I was drinking Diet Coke. I have a Diet Coke. They come in this little tiny can of Diet Coke, which now we get now. You can buy it in the stores.
Yeah.
A little, I don't know, is it 5 ounces of soda or something?
Yeah,
a
the really
can.
tiny ones.
In fact, I kept the cans. I still have them to this day. I got a Sprite, I got a Diet Coke, and a regular Coke. And I've always had them on display in my house. So when people come over, they go, how come you soda? If they offer, you want a little Diet Coke? And I give them a little Diet Coke. They don't know that I mean a little Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I'll have a Diet Coke. You want a little Diet Coke? Yeah. And I bring them a little Diet Coke. I never let them open it, though.
Good pun.
Yeah, yeah. But now, all of a sudden, 2 decades later, now we're selling that Diet Coke. Just like when I went to California decades ago and saw the first time, I owned a restaurant at the time, a pub, and I go to California and they got Corona beer and they're putting lime in the beer. And I said, first of all, I've never seen Corona beer, and I've never seen anybody put a lime in a beer.
Yeah.
And now that's like the regular deal.
Yeah, anytime you get a Corona now, I guess they ask you if you want a lime, then it's going to come with the lime in the
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you left college. Where'd you go? Where'd you work?
Ooh, so went to Reno.
Went to Reno, Nevada.
Yeah, that's where
Where'd
I did.
you work there? What station?
It was KRNV. It was News 4, so it was their Channel 4. But then we were also a Fox affiliate as well, so we were News 4 and Fox 11.
All right. How long were you there?
Just a year.
Yep.
So I moved there about June, and then I moved here in September.
Oh, so you're just there and here?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, pop it around.
Wow.
Yeah, it's been good though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You like it over there at 10?
Yeah, I love everyone that I'm working with.
Yep.
All my coworkers have been great. It's been really good. It's been really good.
Now, who do you work mostly with? Well, first of all, what times do you work mostly? You're at the 5 o'clock, 6
yes,
o'clock time?
I do.
That's when I've seen you.
Yeah, I do the live alert desk at 4 o'clock.
Right.
For our new 4 o'clock show. So that's like breaking news pretty much. I just pop in and out of the show.
Right.
And then I also report after that for the 10 and the 11 show. So, yeah.
That's a pretty long day for you, right?
I mean, it's 8 hours like anybody else. It's just the opposite end
Right.
of the 8 hours of it's like the last 8 hours of the day, literally.
Right, yeah. So you're going to work like 3 o'clock?
Yeah, 3 to
3
like
to
11:30.
Oh, so it's more than 8 hours. It's 8.5 hours.
I mean, you got a lunch break, so
Yeah,
that kind of
yeah.
evens itself out.
Right. So you like it, huh?
Yeah, it's been really good. There is a lot of news in southern New England, so I never have to worry about not knowing what I'm going to be doing.
There's always something going on.
There's always
right?
something going on somewhere,
Right.
especially with the market covering kind of 3 states all at once.
Yes.
It's a lot.
And it doesn't hurt that you're in the top channel in New England.
You said it, not me.
Well, you are.
Yeah.
You're in the top channel.
No.
Or have been for decades.
Yeah, before I moved here, I was kind of calling my mentors and like telling them about the opportunity and everything like that. And they said, well, one of my old professors at USC actually used to work out here, but she worked at 12. And she said, even when I was working there 30 plus years ago, 10 was known as the number 1.
Right.
So it's nice to see that we've kind of maintained that momentum.
Speaking of LA, Tony Potts, who was on Channel 12, he was on the show, and then he ended up in LA.
Nice.
And he ended up with Pat O'Brien doing a sports show.
Yeah, before I moved here, I'd see a lot of people have come through this market and done really well. I'm not in a rush to leave though.
No.
Like I'm liking it here. I don't really have that big of a desire to go back to New York because it's just so expensive to live there.
Yes.
And I like that my family's close enough that I can visit them, but not
Far enough away that they're not on top of you.
that my mom's not popping up on me
Yeah, there you go.
unannounced. So I'm enjoying the distance.
How many brothers and sisters?
Just one sister, one little sister. She actually goes to Quinnipiac in Connecticut, and she's in nursing school there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So that's closer. She's closer to you.
Yeah, very close. I visited her once, but weekends with my sister means me living in a dorm room with other college kids. So I tend not to.
You're beyond that. You're past that.
Yeah, I'm like, you can come visit me in
Right.
my apartment, but taking a shower with flip-flops on, I think I've left that in my past. I have no desire to continue that anymore.
And I can see why you wear flip-flops in a place where a lot of people
Yes.
Yeah, I can
Shower
see it.
shoes are very important when you're sharing a shower with 30 other people.
Yeah, 30?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. So what else do you do? What do you do outside of work?
If I'm not with family back home, I'm a big movie person. I'm a big foodie, so I've been trying all the restaurants around here.
There's enough of them, right?
Yeah, I've been trying to get into oysters and clams a lot more.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've done.
Do you like raw oysters?
Yeah, I went to a Buckashuck. I went to Providence Oyster Bar.
Right, yep.
Loved it there, and
East Greenwich Oyster Bar.
Yeah.
The one done by the beach. I can't think of the name of it.
I went to East Matunic.
Matunic.
Yeah, I went there, and it was amazing there. I tried Rockefeller oysters, and those were amazing.
Oh, you're getting rushed over here.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
So you're having fun here, and you're going to stay with us for a while.
Yep, you guys got me for a while if you let me.
Oh, that's cool. No, I'm sure you'll be here a while if you want to stay here.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What do you think about cool? Do you follow sports at all?
I'm not a huge sports person, but I was excited to move here and become a sports person.
Right,
I felt
right.
like with Celtics are doing really well, with the
Got a lot of teams.
Yeah, there's a lot of people to root for out here.
Right,
And
right.
Being a New York sports fan is tough on the soul. So I'm excited to be with some winners for once. Being a New York sports fan is not for the weak at all.
Wow, especially if you're a Mets fan or a Jets fan.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Oh yeah. But I'm from a Knicks and Giants and Yankees household.
Right.
But even with those,
Even on Long Island. That's
Yeah,
where, right?
yeah.
That's where the Mets are, right? The Mets are on Long Island.
they're. I honestly don't know where the.
I
I think they're at City Field, so that's Queens.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. But my dad's from Queens, so he's a big New York sports fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, listen,
Yeah.
I'm being told. You know how that works. The director's telling you got to go.
They're the real bosses
Well,
here.
it's nice to see you for the first time, and
Yeah,
I
you
hope
too.
I can get you back.
Absolutely, I had a great
Learn
time.
more about you, and we can talk more about you.
Sounds good.
All right?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me, too.
Thank you.
It was great meeting you.
So nice to meet you.
We'll be right back with a surprise guest, an old friend, been on the show several times, and I'm sure Leanna's going to be on again. Be right back. Well, folks, we're back on An Hour with Bob, and as promised, a special guest, good friend of mine, known him for years. In fact, close friend. He's been closer to me than most people have in my lifetime. He is the hair doctor, as I would call him, Dr. Robert Leonard, and a great traveler. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great. It's so nice
You
to see
look
you.
amazing.
Well, thank you. I've lost about 20 pounds in the last 3 months or so. I feel a lot better than I did, and a little tan from down in Florida. It's nice.
You always got a tan. You always got a good tan.
I follow the sun.
You do.
I do.
Now, I remembered when I was there for the ribbon cutting of your new place.
Yes, in Warwick. Yeah, I'm up
Yes.
in Warwick at Warwick Executive Park Summit on Centerville Road. And it's
Beautiful place.
It's really nice.
Nice place.
It is. It's sometimes a little difficult to find because the GPS doesn't bring you to the top of the hill where our building is.
Oh, really?
So I
Yeah.
tell people you just drive to the top of the hill and you'll find us.
Now, what's the road leading to? What's the main road?
Centerville Road.
No, the road leading to Centerville Road. What is the road that's off?
That's off 95.
Oh, it's right
yeah,
off 95,
Yeah,
Centerville
117 heading toward Apponaug. That's where Jim Langevin had his office for a lot of years as well.
Yeah, 117, but
Yeah.
and that's Centerville Road.
It
See,
is.
I always know it as 117.
That's
by the
it,
way.
yeah, a lot of
See,
people-
I'm a route guy.
Yeah, okay.
I go by the routes. I probably know more routes than almost anybody in Rhode Island.
Really?
I can tell you. You tell me a route now.
Well, you've been all over the place with the governor and everything these years.
Well, me and the governor went all over the state several times on his project for. Well, we talked about it together,
Yeah,
and we
that's cool.
started that 39 communities, going to visit the 39 communities.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of traveling,
Oh, it's a passion of my life, it sure is. I've been traveling since we saw each other. Been to Greece a few times,
Right.
and Egypt, and Brazil. Just came back from Panama. That Panama Canal is amazing.
is it? I
It's
always
really-
wanted to go there.
it's
I thought about taking a cruise just to go through the Panama Canal.
Good thing to do. But we were on a little boat for a tour, and I think they make like $16 million a day. It's
A day?
unbelievable a day how much traffic goes back and forth through that canal.
And I understand there's not a lot of room on these big boats, like these big cruise ships.
That's it. It's on each side, small amount.
Is
It's
that
crazy.
unbelievable that they can guide that, or then you're dealing with the wind, and you're dealing with the tides and all that other stuff.
Right. You know what they do? There are two small locomotives on either side of the ship.
Right.
That they hook up, and they're on a track, and they just pull the ship through these various locks.
Yep.
They have to stop. It goes like, I don't know, 30 or 40 feet of change in height of the water. Very interesting. It's worth seeing.
I went to Koo, Finland, to see on a Bob's Big Adventure, to see the building of a cruise ship. At the time, it was going to be the biggest cruise ship. It was Royal Caribbean.
Okay.
At the time, it was something like 210,000 ton ship. I mean, it's like ridiculously big. And one of the things they have to take into account is the Panama Canal.
Really?
They had to build it. They couldn't be, the beam could only be so wide.
Mm-hmm.
The beam is across the ship. It could only be so wide to get through the Panama Canal. And like you said, there was only, I don't know, 4 feet
Maybe
total.
even, I think even less than that.
No, I mean each side, 2 feet on
altogether.
each side, yeah.
Well, it's a long way around South America otherwise, so it's good that
Yeah,
they
yeah.
measure beforehand, right?
Wow. That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what they actually, that was taken into account when they built that ship.
Yeah, I was just at the American Academy of Dermatology meeting. That was in New Orleans.
Yep.
I haven't been there for a long time. And
Now, wait a minute. Were you there during Mardi Gras?
No. I've always wanted to go, but after just a regular weeknight on Bourbon Street, I don't need to see Mardi
I've
Gras.
been to Mardi Gras twice.
Really?
Yes. Nuts. Absolutely bonkers.
I usually, when I go to a city, I like to get up early in the morning and just see the city wake
Right.
up. And I did walk down to the French Quarter, and people, I mean, they had a big crews
I was
shoveling
just going to say that. Shoveling the
everything off
garbage,
the
the
street.
trash off the street.
It was not something that was pleasant to see at all.
Hurricane was their famous drink.
Yeah, I had one of those.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they must have
Oh, they still do the Hurricane,
dry
huh?
ice because it like bubbles on
Yes,
the surface.
yeah, on the top. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So
that
it was good. It was, but the meeting was really good, and I was there to talk about a new device that I'm recommending to patients for hair loss. So
Is that that A300? What do you call
yeah,
that?
the OXO A300. So it's
How do you like that, huh?
it's pretty good. You remember it? No, that's good. So it's a pretty cool thing because, as you know, I've been taking care of patients with hair loss for 36 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
36 years.
Well, I've been on TV 31 years, and you've been here since I've been on TV.
Yeah, but you've been here longer than I have.
Yeah.
But the thing, I'm not doing surgery any longer.
No?
No more surgery. So
Oh, no. You can't
more
fix me
surgery.
anymore?
You look pretty good, though. I mean, after all these years, how many years ago did we do that?
Oh, God.
More than 15,
Oh,
right?
I was going to say
A lot
close to
more.
15 to 20 is
Yeah.
what I was going to say. Yeah.
But that's the beauty of hair transplants. They grow forever.
I have 3 brothers, all younger than me,
Uh-huh.
and I have more hair than any of them.
Well, there you go.
Thanks to you.
They didn't call me at the,
That's
in
right.
the day.
That's right.
But what I'm doing now, I have a practice called Hair Health Institute, and it's
Right.
in Warwick.
Yep.
And it's all non-surgical hair restoration.
All right, is that with the laser thing?
The laser device, yeah. So when you were having your surgery back in the
Right.
day, you sat under a big machine.
Yep.
And over the decades now, what's occurred is that just like everything else with miniaturization and technology, everything's got smaller.
Right.
And now, instead of those big machines, we have a
Cap.
baseball cap-like
Cap,
device,
yeah.
that you wear just 10 minutes a day. And the treatment is the best treatment that's a non-surgical
Now,
treatment
wait a
available, in my
minute. As I
opinion.
understand it, and this isn't from you, I've heard, do they take that home?
Yes, the patients buy that and they wear it at home. So it's very, very convenient for people. Before, people had to come like over a year, 40 appointments.
Right.
And it was very, very onerous for people to do that.
Sure.
But now we have this OXO A300 cap device, and people charge it for 24 hours first. The battery has to be charged.
Right.
And you turn it on and you wear it for 10 minutes while you're having a cup of coffee or driving,
Right.
whatever you're doing.
That's it, just
And
10 minutes a
yep,
day?
It turns off all by itself. So the therapy is called, there are 2 names to the therapy. One is called low-level laser therapy.
Right.
In low-level laser, we hear of lasers that are, to do hair removal and to rejuvenation of the skin. It's a hot laser. This is just the opposite. It's called
cool laser?
low-level. It's a
Right.
cold laser, actually.
Yeah.
It's not cold, but it doesn't destroy
hurt,
tissue.
doesn't-
It stimulates tissue. So
Oh.
the other word for low-level laser is called photobiomodulation.
Right.
And if you break that word into 3 parts, photo is light energy,
Right.
laser energy. Bio
Bio.
is the human body, the
Yep.
hair follicles in my case.
Right.
And modulation is to make a positive change. So light energy makes a positive change to the hair follicles to create stopping further shedding, hair loss.
Hair loss. You stop the hair loss.
90% of the time, 90, it's a big number.
That is
And-
a big number.
And then regrowth is 60%, and that's for the whole
Wow.
top of the head.
Though, even what's this, the
Everywhere.
crown? This is the crown? 'Cause
The
I'm
front,
losing
the
something
top,
here.
and the
I'm losing
crown.
something in the crown here.
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's a painless. It's not even a procedure. It's a painless thing you do 10 minutes a day, but it's really, really important that people understand that nothing impacts the hair follicle for 4 months. So whether you do laser therapy or
right.
you take Propecia pill or
Right.
you use Rogaine or whatever,
Right.
at hair transplant, it takes 4 months before anything physiologically affects.
Right.
So, people, what happens, right? They buy the device, they're using it, and like 2 weeks later,
Nothing's
call-
happening,
Yeah,
Doc.
2 weeks later,
Nothing's
2 days.
happening. Now, I was going to ask, now, you said 10 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking that some dummy is going to say, well, I'm going to put it on longer than 10 minutes.
Well,
But
it
you
turns
said it shuts off.
It turns off by itself because the older devices were used to be a half hour every other day. So the older devices, caps, they fluctuated. The laser flashed off and on,
Right.
so it had to be one longer period of time and a day between.
Right.
And myself included, I used to fall asleep wearing it. I've been using laser therapy for about 9 years myself.
Right.
And fall asleep with it, or who knows what the heck happens. You go to dinner and come back at 11 at night, you're not going to put that on for half an hour. So compliance was very low. So now with these 10 minutes a day, every day, it's easier. It's much
It's a
easier.
regimen. You put you lock in
brushing your
10
teeth.
minutes every day.
Exactly.
Like you said, having your coffee or eating your cereal.
Whatever it is. So,
Or I can see somebody out at the diner sitting at the counter with the thing on their
the
head.
red light comes on. I'll show you the device afterwards. But
Yeah.
it's really an amazing thing because it takes time. It takes time, but as steady as you go. After about, I'd say a year, 12 months to 18 months, that's when regrowth happens. Because I didn't bring my little model tonight, but hair grows in a cycle. In the cycle from the growth phase to a new growth phase is 4 months. That's why it takes that time.
Right.
But hair just doesn't fall off overnight. It takes months to years to grow from thick, long hairs
Right.
to smaller, thinner, finer, miniaturized hairs.
Right.
In the process of miniaturization, the hairs fall out and they're replaced, but they're replaced fast. And the new hair that grows doesn't grow as long as the one before.
Right.
And that's why people shed. So this device stops shedding 90%.
So that's why you don't see any more hair in your drain, and you don't see any more
on
hair
your
in
comb
your brush
and on your
comb.
clothes or wherever. But it takes 4 months. It really does. And so I talk to my patients a lot, as you know, and I want them to understand that they're investing money on this device,
Right.
of course, but it's very effective, but it takes time. So that's where we are.
Now, what do you get when after 8 or 10 months, and they're coming back to you, and
Well, they're happy.
They're like this.
Yeah, well, not quite that. A couple out of it. No, but really, it's a joy for me, right? It's joyful for me to really see patients happy because hair loss can be it can be a big downer.
Absolutely.
Men, yes, and especially women.
Oh, I can't even imagine a woman getting a bald spot in the hair.
Or thinning even,
thinning, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
these lights that are here, women typically, because the hair thins out in a general way, it's not typically a bald spot like a guy.
Right.
People, and the light reflects back in people's eyes, and it's mortifying to women, mortifying.
Oh,
So-
I know. I see myself on TV. It looks like I'm totally bald.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. So I tell them that, we talk about a lot of different stuff. It's not just hair. We talk about psychology, all things in the consultation.
Right.
I'm a physician, and this is my expertise. So, we talk about all things that relate. People won't go to the beach because their hair is thin, all sorts of things. And the thing that's unusual now, I'm an old guy at this point in my career, right? So now I'm still taken aback when a guy goes into the Capitol Grill and he has a baseball cap on, or even into
Right.
a restaurant that's not as quote as elegant as that.
Right.
That just wasn't done in our day, right?
No,
never
you
wear
would
a cap.
never wear a cap in a restaurant.
And so I always thought, either they just had a transplant, or
Right.
that was because I had a tunnel vision.
Right,
But society, the norms have changed. But it's still. I say, why does that guy have a hat on in the restaurant?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
But-
or even worse than a baseball hat, a big round hat or something.
Whatever. I'm just. But after people would have a transplant, there'd be noticeability for about a week and a half or so. So they would wear a baseball cap just to cover the surgical site. But
Right.
other than that, there's So those are the people that I hold myself back, but I want to go up and give them my business
Yeah,
card.
yeah.
And have them
I
get
would give them
have
the
them get a
business
laser cap instead that will do something
Right.
for
Yeah,
them.
exactly.
But I've never been so bold.
I would do it.
I know you would. Well, I'm going to give them my business
Yeah,
cards.
there you go. Here, go take care of this. Yeah, but
I
you're
know
right.
a guy, right? That's a Rhode Island
That's
friend.
right. Yeah. I know a guy, and I know him well, and he does good work.
Yeah. So.
But back when before I had hair done,
Yes.
I can remember being with a friend of mine, and he was a young guy too.
Yeah.
He was only probably 30 years old, but he was very vain, and he had a Porsche, the big whaleback Porsche
Yep.
convertible and everything. And he had just come from a hair transplant, but it wasn't you.
Uh-huh.
And that was when they put the plugs in.
Well, I did the plugs in those days too, in the 80s and early 90s. So with people, the plugs are very large grafts, like
Yeah.
the size of a pencil eraser, and they're spaced out. The doctor who actually proved that hair transplant surgery would work did a very elegant test. Dr. Norman Orentreich in 1959.
Where was he from?
New York City, very famous dermatologist, but he did transplants in the States. And he took a round plug of hair
Right.
from the back, and made a hole in the bald spot, and took the bald one from the top and put it where the hair was. And he waited and watched and saw what happened. And what happened was what's known as donor dominance. Wherever the tissue comes from will be the dominant trait where it's moved to.
Right.
So the bald one that was moved back here stayed bald, and the
Right.
one with the hair that was moved here grew.
Yeah, I know, but now you got all.
Well, no, he did just to see about that. And then, but the problem was when he did it, he used large grafts.
Right, right.
So those had 25 hairs. Today we do 1, 2, and 3 hairs. So it's
Right.
very, very natural now.
Well, why I mention him is because I remember driving with him one day. He just had the hair done, and he's driving, and he doesn't have a bald cap. Doesn't have a cap on. Top's down. We're driving along. All of a sudden, the blood's dripping down the side of his head. Yeah, yeah. And he had, like you said, the big.
The
plugs.
old ones, yeah.
And I looked at him. I pull over. Yes, you're bleeding all over the place. He pulled over, and I said, "What the hell did you do?" He said, "Well, I just had hair transplant." I said, "Well, they might have dug too deep or something."
The good old days, I don't know if they're the good old days, but you know, with everything, just like with laser therapy, things start off bigger.
Right.
The grafts are big then, and now they're tiny.
Well, you compare them to the old transistor or the tube radios
Exactly.
or tube TVs. Everything goes
Right.
smaller, smaller.
Hearing aids, those are computers in your ear. They're
Right.
that big. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is. It's incredible. But, you know, so over the years, I've kind of morphed my practice now to see patients and not do surgery, and it's good. It's good. I'm spending more time with my family. I had my first grandchild.
Yes.
That was a month ago. So we've been
Wow.
waiting forever.
Me too. I
can't-
haven't got one.
We can't rush that. I mean, I have no control
you've
over
got no
doing
control of that, no.
But what joy! Oh my God! It's like you just see him and you fall in love with him.
It's a
and-
boy, huh?
Yeah, he's a boy.
Oh, it's a boy on top
Yes,
of it.
he's a
My
boy. and-
God, yeah.
But he lives in San Francisco, a
Hey.
little far away. But we've been back and forth at least 2 times so far, and
Yeah?
they're coming to visit us in a couple of weeks. So
Oh, you
it'll
must be
nice.
excited, huh?
Very. I mean, I'm walking on air. It's really special.
Have you changed diapers again yet?
I always change it. Sure, no problem.
No, I mean, but have you gotten back into practice?
Well, not practice. I was there for a week. I did
So-
a little
so you
bit.
did
but
it. You did it
the
when you were
parents
there.
had to learn how to do it first before
Really?
me. I've done it before.
Yeah. You're a veteran.
No, but my daughter and son-in-law, they're great. They're great parents, and it's just another branch of the family tree. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
My parents are going to meet him
Oh,
next
wow.
week. Yeah, my parents are
Great
in their
grandparents.
early 80s and
Yeah.
very active, and so we're going to go down to Florida and congregate there and have a big, not a reunion, initial union.
A union.
Yeah, so it'd be
Yeah, that ought to be great. I'm
Yeah.
still waiting for a grandchild. I'm waiting for Zachary to have a kid.
Uh-huh. Is there a mother around? Potential mother?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. Well, it could have.
come on, Zachary, let's get going.
Yeah, my other son, Matthew, he hasn't had any kids. I don't think his wife can have kids.
Okay.
I don't know that for sure. I don't know that for sure. But
Yeah.
they've never had a kid. So
Yeah.
I thought he's out of it. You know, he's in his 50s now. So
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if they even want a kid now.
Well, who just had a baby, like a producer who's 78 years old or something, they had a baby. I don't know. I
well, the
remember
guy
them-
was 78
Yeah,
years
yeah,
old, not
right,
the woman.
Right.
How old was she?
I don't know, but much younger. Much younger.
Yeah, she had to be at
I
least
guess.
10 years younger.
Yeah.
Or 20 years younger.
Maybe
probably.
20, yeah.
20
close to
years
that.
younger. So what do you
Yes.
got? What's this contraption you got?
This is called the OXO.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, this is called the OXO A300.
It looks
because
just like
there
a
are,
baseball
there are
cap.
300 lasers in here.
Oh, wow.
These little
Yeah.
things are called laser
There.
diodes. In the
Wow.
technology, you know, I try to get the latest technology and the best things for my patient. The technology of the diode is very different from what is available for other devices because this is called surface mount technology. So instead of the diode being a round circle that's soldered together,
Right.
it creates a certain beam, width of a beam, and depth of a beam. That's the light energy. This is square, and it provides a wider beam,
Oh,
wider beam,
Yep.
and a deeper penetration. Because what happens with male and female pattern hair loss is that every single follicle on the head, 150,000, has its own artery and vein. Tiny. Can you imagine how small the vascular tree is?
Wow.
It's tiny. And every single vessel has its own blood supply. Every follicle has its blood
Right.
supply. And one cause of hair loss, and it's genetically determined, is decreased blood flowing right there. So if we use a device that's effective to increase that local blood flow, that's how it works. It stops further progression and it regrows hair. The other thing laser does, you know, in the cells of any cell in the body, there's something called a mitochondria. And those are the workhouses, like the stations where energy
workhorses,
Exactly. And so it affects the energy level of them. It stimulates the mitochondria, which makes the hair cells produce hair in a more efficient way. So that's what low level laser does. So people would charge this battery. I
Right.
charge it a little bit, and you turn it on, and you can see the laser lights coming on.
Oh,
I don't know if you can see it
wow,
here.
look at that.
It's
Look at
kind
that
of
on
bright in
TV.
there.
Huh? Isn't that cool? So stay on this. You're right there.
So this is the laser light.
Wow.
And
Looks like a disco.
It's and after 10 minutes, I'm doing it manually, but after 10 minutes, it will turn off on its own. Automatically. So
Now, tell me something. It turns off. Now, can somebody turn it back on again for the same day?
you can, but the treatment is 10 minutes each day.
But some,
People can, it's really better not to do more is not always better with lots of things,
Right.
including laser therapy, because there's a physiologic curve, a scientific
Right,
curve
right.
that shows if you put too much energy in, it kind of
negates.
counterproductive.
Right, exactly.
So more isn't always better.
but I
with
can
that.
see somebody saying, "Oh, I want to get it done faster."
I know.
Right? I can see it happening.
Well, I answer the question before it's asked at the consultation.
Oh, you
Because,
do?
I mean, I would do the same thing, honestly, if I didn't
Is
know
it
any
heavy?
better.
Let me see.
No, it's not.
No, it's not heavy.
And the nice part about this, it goes down way far in the back of the head as well. And
I'm ready to go here.
so it goes down far in the back and far on the side. So men
So
who've
it
had...
catches the side, catches the back of the head.
The other devices don't do that.
Right.
So it's really been a game changer, not only with the surface mount technology, but the configuration of the devices is really better. So
Right. And only 10 minutes a day. That's the great part.
it's really, really great.
Instead of, like you said, the other one used to be a flat piece.
Well, yeah, those when you sat in the office,
Right.
that was a half hour. So it was twice a week for 3 months,
Right.
and then once a week for 3 months, and every other week for 3 months.
And
over
you're
a
traveling
year.
every
So
time
I
you
take
go to
this
the
with
office.
me. Exactly. I mean, it was a big deal to have to go, and it's a lot of treatments.
Right.
But now people take it with them. I carry mine all over the world. The only place I haven't brought it is the continent is Antarctica. I haven't been to Antarctica.
Neither have I.
So we got to go.
We
Let's
gotta
make a
go.
trip. That'll be
Yeah,
good.
that would
Leave
be a
from
good trip.
Argentina, I think, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Although I'm not so
Rough
great
waters.
on sea. I
Rough
think
waters.
they're really
I think I'd
rough.
fly. I think I'd
Can
rather
can
fly.
you fly?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know you.
Well, I'll get military. Fly
Okay,
with the
that's fine then.
military.
That's right.
Like,
I'll be the medic on board if you need a doctor
I've
on
flown a
board.
lot of places with the military, especially when my buddy Reggie Centracchio was the head of the National Guard.
Right,
I went
yeah.
down to Puerto Rico with him.
Uh-huh.
Went to Cuba with him. To the bay. What the hell is it called?
Guantanamo Bay?
Guantanamo Bay.
Really?
This time when I went to Cuba, we were on the island, all
Okay.
over there. We went all over the
I
island.
want to visit that place. I want to see that island.
That was cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Is it true that are they all old cars?
Unbelievable.
Literally, they're
nothing,
all of them.
Nothing newer than a 59, unless
Really?
some of them.
That
some
was a
people
good year,
bought 'em-
59.
Exactly. Some
That's
of them
my
brought them up. Is it really?
Yeah.
I'm driving in the car. I'm driving a 54 Pontiac.
Yeah.
I think it was a fire chief. And I'm a big Pontiac man back in the day, GTOs. I actually had,
Oh, that's
I owned
cool.
3 GTOs at the same time back in the day.
Really?
1968, actually I bought my 64, I wish we'd still have it. They're all convertibles. I was a big convertible guy.
yeah.
I bought the 64 of my brother-in-law in 65, so it was only 1 year old.
Mm-hmm.
4-speed, 3 deuces and a 4, like the song, Little GTO, 3
Oh, yeah.
deuces and a 4-speed and a 389,
Yeah.
positive traction.
Uh-huh.
Shift to 389 cubic inch engine, 3 two-barrel carburetors, 4-speed transmission, 411 gear rear end, 4 turns of the rear end every turn of the motor. That's what that means.
Okay, I had
and
no idea.
Fast car, and because it was their first year, it was light. It was a Tempest, so it was small and light. 65, they got a little bigger. 66, they got sloppy. They got big, and they changed from a 389 to a 400.
Okay.
And after 66, they stayed with the 400. So in 69, I bought the, no, 68, I bought the 66, and 69, I bought the 68.
Okay. Right.
And blown motor.
no,
I redid the motor. So I had them all in my driveway, all 3 of them. I was going to college at the time. I was at Roger
Amazing.
Williams, and I go out one morning. I just finished rebuilding the motor of the 66. The 66 was a white with a black top convertible. The 68 was yellow with a tan top, and the 64 was blue, midnight blue with a white top. I go out in the morning after I worked all day on the 66 rebuilding the motor, tore it all apart, rebuilt the whole motor,
Yeah.
new pistons, rings, all that shit, bearings, everything. I go out, I'm trying to decide what car I'm going to take, so I picked the 64 keys, and I go out and I look, and I go, wait a minute, what the hell's, where's the white one? Not there. Somebody stole it out of my yard.
Oh my God.
And
The one you just fixed?
The one
The
I
one
just
just
did. The one I
redid.
spent all day, I spent like 14 hours on it.
Wow.
And from the morning before till midnight.
You get it back?
Oh, I got it back all right. It was destroyed. They found that on Route 10. It looked like the Flintstones car.
Oh my God.
This left front tire was flat, right rear tire was flat. They were driving it like that.
Oh, God.
But they ended up blowing the engine, of course, because it had it wasn't worked in. The
Yeah.
motor wasn't, I mean, I started up after I
Yeah.
finished it, purred like a kitten. And it would have been fine. If
And you didn't have insurance on it, did you?
No.
At that stage, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yep. I found out about 10 years later, there was a kid across the street that stole the car.
Really?
Imagine that.
Oh. What happened to him? Get a couple of whacks on the back of the head?
Yeah, he ended up in
Don't
jail.
incriminate yourself.
No, he ended up in jail. Is what he
okay.
ended up. Not for that though,
Yeah.
for something else. But
Okay.
a crook's a crook. You know, they're
Yeah.
going to get caught anyway.
I
You
know.
know, something's got to happen to them, especially when they get in prison. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I had a lot of GTOs, and so here I am in Cuba with these 7 guys, all with 3 letters after their name.
Yep.
You know, CIA, FBI, NSA, all this stuff. And I even said to my doctor friend, I go, everybody here's got 3 letters after their name except me. Well, you're the documentarian.
There you go. That's a
'Cause
lot
we weren't
of
even
lot of
supposed to be
letters.
there. We landed in Cuba at like 2:30 in the morning, and we docked at Hemingway's resort.
Okay.
We docked there. We got off the boat, and to the guy we had a guy from England too, the MI6
Oh, yeah.
agent, James Bond agent,
Yeah.
big guy.
Yeah.
Him and the Navy SEAL picked me up and put me on the dock because
Oh,
my
no.
knee was killing me.
Oh, boy.
So we get inside this nondescript building with no windows, and there's a guy in a military uniform behind the desk, and each one of us
At
took
2:30
turns.
in the morning.
Each one of us took turns, sit at the desk across from him, and he took a picture of us, asked us our name and everything. We showed our passport. Then they took a piece of paper, and he put it in the passport, and he stamped it.
Okay.
So,
So you're okay.
because if you got a stamp at
You
that
can't
time,
do it
you
on
were in
your
trouble.
passport,
When
yeah.
you come back to the United States and they see your passport stamped to Cuba after the president, Trump at the time,
Right.
said nobody goes to Cuba,
Yeah.
we would have had an issue.
That was the same thing with me. I've gone on 2 pilgrimages to the Holy Land 2 different times.
Wow.
And the same thing, they did it on a paper because if you're going to go to an Arabic country, they wouldn't let you into the the Muslim country.
Right, they would not be happy
So, yeah.
with you.
So the same thing with when I visited Egypt. The same thing happened.
Really? Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they asked, are you going to Israel? And I said we will. And
Yeah.
so
I think I went through the same thing in Morocco, I think. Yeah,
well,
I think so.
that's a Muslim too. So maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where did you go to Tangier or did you go to Fez?
No, I didn't go to Fez. I went to, we stayed in the
Casablanca?
capital, Rabat,
Rabat, yeah.
and we went to Casablanca, and we went to
The famous, I can't think of it with an M,
begins
right?
with an M.
Marrakesh.
Marrakesh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Where the big fair is.
Yeah.
And the guys over there blowing the
snake.
And the snake,
Yeah.
and it did. It come right up, yeah.
I know, I've seen that. That's
It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And don't you know, I come back, I taped the show there at Marrakesh,
Mm-hmm.
and they have these booths, I call it's like a giant flea market.
Yeah.
And most of it's
the
outside,
Casbah,
and a lot
Casbah.
of it's inside too. And one of them that's inside is this big Persian rug store, and the rugs are stacked this high, and there's section after section of Persian rugs. And this big guy, he got the robe on. He's the one,
Select
the
the
salesman,
one, yeah.
the salesman. And I asked him about some of the things. Oh, that's 25,000. This is 40,000. Oh, big numbers, right? So we come back home, and I put together, edited a show. I put it on TV, true story, folks. I put it on television that afternoon. It was on TV. That night, I'm watching the TV show Amazing Race. It was the first year the show Amazing Race was on TV. And they end up in Morocco. They end up at
His
that,
place.
That flea
Carpet,
market.
yeah, yeah.
They end up in this room, and the guy picks up the rug, and there's the clue. You know how they get the clues? Picked up the clue, and from the guy that I talked to.
Wow.
It was, and on the same day.
It's amazing.
Everything
Yeah.
was so surreal that
Yeah.
that could happen like that. I know
It's
you've
a-
experienced stuff,
yeah.
crazy stuff like
It
that.
is, it's amazing.
As much traveling as you've done.
You know, the other thing that's amazing, and I'm a transplanted Rhode Islander. I grew up in Arlington, Mass.
Right.
But I've been I married, my wife was a medical student with me in class, and she dragged me to Rhode Island. And I was teased.
Was she a Rhode Islander?
She is, yes. She's from Central Falls.
CS.
So I said,
Wow.
my dear.
Wait a minute. Where did she go to? Where did she go to high school?
She
Sacred
went to
Heart?
Mount.
She went to Mount.
It was the first co-ed class there.
Okay.
And I said, honey, I love you, but I'm not going to live in Central Falls. So we moved down to South County, and it's been great ever since. But the thing that I was going to say, it's amazing. I do travel a lot, all over the place. and
Right.
How many times I meet a Rhode Islander?
Everywhere.
It's
It is-
uncanny. We were in an island, if you go to Greece sometime, the
Yeah.
island of Milos. It's a beautiful, still it's not too touristy.
Right.
But we were doing a day-long catamaran trip around the island. And I talked to everybody on there. It's people from France and
Yep.
Italy and Greece. And it was an American kid. So I said, hey, where are you from? He says, I'm from New York, but during the pandemic, I lived in Rhode Island. Do you know where Rhode Island is? I said, yeah, I do.
Yeah,
That's near Boston, right? And he says, yeah, I live in Narragansett, and I live in Narragansett.
Wow.
And his girlfriend was the daughter of, who was one of the gubernatorial candidates, the woman? I can't think of her name. It's shameful I don't remember her name.
Oh, this-
she lost. Yeah, this
Yeah,
lost.
yeah.
Anyways, her daughter was
Fonts? No, not
Faulks. Yeah, Faulks, right? Yeah, it was her daughter.
CBS. No kidding.
Right there, and the kid was from Narragansett, a stone's throw from my house.
Wow.
Another time in Santiago, Chile, and the Patriots game was one of the Super Bowls.
Yep.
And we're in the lounge of the hotel.
Right.
And there was a guy sitting at the bar with a Patriots shirt on.
Oh, wow.
So I go over and say, how are you, from Boston, whatever. He says, no, I'm from Rhode Island. He said, where? Bonnet Shores.
No way.
Which is
right around the corner.
stone's throw from my house.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll give you one.
Go ahead.
I'll give you one. I said I went to Cool, Finland to
Yes.
see the largest ship in the world being made. Well, I'm in Helsinki, Finland, just landed, and now I got to take a bus up to Cool, Finland, in the northern part of the country, in the Arctic Circle. I'm waiting for the bus. I get out of the airport, and you walk across a couple rows of traffic, and then you wait at the bus station, right?
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, there's nothing in English. Nothing written in English. So I'm going, no, what the hell do I do? What
and it's
bus-
not even like a Romance language. You can't even fake it with
No,
Italian or French or
exactly. No,
anything.
I
yeah.
took 9 years of Latin, so I could
Oh, you
fake
would have been
some
fine
of it,
then,
right?
yeah.
So I'm looking at it and I'm going, what the hell am I going to do? A lot of double A's and double E's and double
And
vowels and double.
umlauts, those things, yeah.
So I look over, there's a guy about 8 feet away maybe. And I said, excuse me, sir, can you tell me when the next bus comes to Turku? He goes, yeah, Bob, it's in the next 20 minutes or something. I said, what'd you say? He
Yeah,
said,
Bob?
yeah. I said, what? He says, yes, next 20 minutes. I said, no, what else did you say? I said, you said, yeah, what? He says, yeah, Bob. That's your name, right? So I'm looking at my luggage to see if
Yeah,
anything
right.
is exposed with my name
Right.
on it, and it's not. I said, wait a minute. You
How-
called me Bob. He goes, well, that's your name, isn't it?
Yeah.
I go, yeah? How do you know that's my name? He goes, I said, where are you from? He goes, Brazil. I go, wait a minute, now you're really screwing me up. I said, how is that happening? He said, well, actually, I was born in Brazil. I grew up in Cranston, Rhode Island.
my
He said, I watch your show all the time. I couldn't believe it.
Small world.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep, and it happened to me on a cruise ship. Another time, somebody come up to me, and probably the craziest one, my grandfather died in Orange County, California, Newport Beach, actually.
That's very nice.
And I go to the town hall to get some paperwork, right? And I'm at the counter. Now, I'm not just in a building, and I'm not in a tourist area. I'm doing business in the
City
clerk's
Hall, yeah.
office, right? It's about, the counter's probably 20 feet long, maybe 15 feet long. And I'm standing at the counter, and the guy looks over, he goes, hey, Bob, how you doing? I went, what? And he was from Pawtucket, Rhode Island.
There you go.
He had moved there a number of years earlier, and I ended up hanging out with him. He ended up opening up a restaurant out there, and he wanted my recipe for clam cakes.
Oh, there you go.
He goes, I never had a better clam cake than you
Did they have
made.
clams out there?
Yeah,
They do, that was good.
Well, he opened up a restaurant. His name was John Wilson. He opened up a restaurant in, I think it's Pleasanton, California.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
know
the name,
Newport Beach, but I don't know the town, Pleasanton.
Well, my grandfather lived on Lido Sod in Newport Beach. It's a little tiny island, the causeway over to huge,
Oh, I knew
huge
that,
money.
yes, yeah, beautiful.
Huge money. And my mother got totally shafted because my mother was an only child.
Oh, wow.
And he had moved out to California, and he married a girl my mother's age.
Oh.
But he was still in contact with my mother every month. He always sent her money, always talked to her on the
Yeah.
phone, whatever. And I used to go visit him every year, at least once a year, sometimes twice a year. One time I decided to take a trip, land in LA, drive to the Mexican border, go across the border without the car, of course,
Yeah.
get in the car and drive all the way to
there.
Canada
Really?
on the Pacific Coast Highway
Oh, wow.
during Christmas time.
Amazing.
And I had a friend that lived in Winlocks, Washington, and he had so many times I'd run into him or talk to him. He said, when you coming up? When you I said, don't say that because it'll happen. He goes, yeah, everybody says that. I said, but not me.
Yeah.
So I drove up, I knocked on his door, December 22nd. He nearly had a heart attack. Yeah, but I drove the whole Pacific coast, And again, getting back to the will, so I ended up flying out to reading of the will. My mother's an only child. The wife, the new wife, had a son my age, which is the daughter's, the wife's my mother's age,
right.
and the son's my
your
age.
yeah.
So I go to the reading of the will at this law office that is based on L.A. Law movie, a series was based on it. 17 floors of lawyers, all lawyers. All they had to do was send a nuke to that building and be done with it, settle the will's problem.
Yeah.
So I go to the reading of the will. My mother was taken out of everything.
Wow.
I leave there totally dejected and so shocked because I was very friendly with my grandfather. Like I said, I was the only one that visited him all the time.
Right.
So I get on the elevator. As the door's closing, just like a movie, somebody sticks their hand in.
Yeah.
Door opens, young lawyer gets on with me. Hits the button to go down. We get down a few floors. He hits the stop button. He goes, so I'm wondering what the hell I got here.
Yeah, now what's going on?
He goes, you know, I was in that room. I saw what happened.
It's not
I
right.
was there when they brought your grandfather in. He says he was,
Out to lunch.
yeah, he wasn't all there. You know, he was very fragile, and they really, they stripped him. They took everything from your mother.
Wow.
He says, I would protest that will.
Yes.
So I get left there. I took his card.
That was great for him to tell you.
Yeah, I left there, jumped in the car. I took a ride, and I got on the phone. I called my mother. She goes, oh, he didn't want to leave me enough. Screw him and all this. I said, Mom, it wasn't him. He goes, no, he knows better. I said, Mom, he's 86 years old.
Yeah.
He didn't have all his faculties. No, he didn't want to leave me nothing. The hell with him. I said, Ma, I think you should come out here. My mother would never fly. Never flew,
really?
ever. So I said, Ma, I'm flying back. We're getting in the car. We're driving back to California.
Wow.
Didn't want to hear it.
She did, huh?
Didn't want to hear it. The guy
If
was
she
worth...
had to be the one to do it, you could not have done that?
I could have.
Yeah.
I could have. I didn't realize. Well, I kind
Who
of
knows,
did.
yeah.
I had before I left. I got a power of attorney. I could have done it, but I didn't want to go against my mother
Right.
because I knew it was a
Touchy subject.
real touchy subject. But I probably should have because it was multi-millions of dollars. The last time I saw him, which was the year before, he had sold either $6.5 or $5.6 million of his property and didn't have any mortgages.
Wow.
And the house he had on Lido Sod is probably $3 million today.
Amazing.
At
Wow.
least $3 million probably today. Lido Sod's a little tiny
Yeah, I
island.
remember it, yeah.
All it is, the houses all the way around, has houses all the way around the outside. The houses face the water. And Balboa Beach is right there, Balboa Island's right there. I was sick that I didn't.
You think it's too late?
Oh, yeah. That was years ago.
A long time,
Yeah,
yeah.
that
It's
had
too
to be
bad.
12 years or 15 years ago.
Well, you know what? We're doing okay.
Yeah, hey,
Doing okay.
it worked. You know, everything works its way, you know.
Right.
She was, I was kind of mad after, though. I didn't do it even in spite of my mother. I should have got her some money, you know.
Yeah.
Not for me, for
Yeah,
her.
yeah.
I should have got her some money.
Right.
And I could have got her a lot of money. because
Especially since it was, I mean, it's not, that was a lot of money.
a lot,
Not
oh,
little.
serious money. Besides that, he owned a 14-unit townhouse condominium complex, and right next to a newspaper in Casa Mesa, right next on Thurston Street. And I went there with him. I'd take him in the car. He liked it when I did that. I drove him out, right? We go to the place. He goes, one of my tenants is Gregory Peck. I go, come on, Gramps. You know, you're bullshitting me, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, okay. So we drive there, go through the garden post, we get inside, just go ring the doorbell. I said, I'm not going to ring a guy's doorbell. He goes, it's Gregory Peck. Go ring the doorbell.
see
To
him.
Kill a Mockingbird, if you don't know, folks. So I got to wrap it up. So I go to the door, I ring the doorbell, Peck, it says on the door, opens the door, it's Gregory Peck.
Wow, amazing.
He's standing, I'm up the 3 stairs, and I'm standing on the landing, and Gregory Peck's in the doorway, and they know each other, they're best friends.
There you go.
He goes, this is my grandson. He didn't believe me.
Yeah.
He didn't believe me. You're
That's
Gregory Peck, the real Gregory Peck.
That's cool.
Well, Doc, we got to do it now. Next time, you got to do the whole hour. You got to come back.
We'll bring pictures.
I was just going to say that. I want to see some of the places you've been to.
I will
'cause
do that.
You're the most traveled guy over me, even.
Thanks very much. Really
Pleasure
appreciate it.
seeing you.
Thank
Pleasure
you
to
very
see you.
much.